Billy Elekana had a shaky UFC debut on short notice against a monster in Bogdan Guskov. It wasn't much debut, and the visuals of the fight that really made me feel like he wasn't going to be UFC caliber. I now feel safe to chalk that up to short notice because Elekana has a deep amateur career, 6-1 with 2 titles in Tough Enough, and beside the lacking UFC debut, again, against a real monster in Bogdan Guskov, he's 8-1 professionally with wins in the LFA, wins in the PFL, and now a win in the UFC against Ibo Aslan. Today we'll have a look at the interesting highlights of the 6'3" all-around mixed martial artist in Billy Elekana. Elekana is 6'3" and pairs that height with an impressive 77-inch reach. And looking at his MMA experience, we go all the way back to 2017. Elekana debuted as an amateur in the Sin City MMA scene. He competed in his debut for Tough Enough and would follow that up with a couple fights in King of the Cage. As an amateur, opponents were quick to grapple. He faced a couple good grapplers. Some of them were able to take him down, but Elekana's ability to get back to his feet and his striking were on full display as he was an amateur, in great shape with a ton of power in both hands. As he would stack up wins, ultimately getting an amateur title fight in 2018 against a familiar face to fight fans in Brian Battle. And in this fight, Brian Battle was relentless on the fence with the takedown attempts, but landing no damage whatsoever. A knockdown in the second round was by far the most impactful statement from either fighter, coming from Billy Elekana, and Elekana would ultimately win an amateur light heavyweight title for Tough Enough and defend it before ultimately losing his final amateur bout against Kobe Jeffers. Elekana would then stay away from MMA for 2 years training before debuting as a pro in Fierce FC in Utah. He'd submit his opponent in the second round, signaling a successful return to the cage and a successful pro debut. He'd win his next fight with a Chris Weidman leg kick defense, where his opponent's leg would snap in two, and he'd follow to the PFL for his next 2 bouts, winning both, including getting on the right side of the PFL split decision against Chuck Campbell. Then, after a first-round finish against Jarrell Simmons, bringing Elekana to 7-1 with 4 finishes, he would get that short notice call to fight Bogdan Guskov. Jumping at the opportunity, in the first round, Elekana looked good. His amateur and pro fights seasoned him on the feet, and he was grappling well using his frame. However, his gas tank would spill, and the latter half of the fight would see him struggle. Billy was basically finished at the end of the first round via a rear naked choke, but surviving and being saved by the bell. The second round was all Guskov, pouring on the pressure, and the end of the fight was signaled by Elekana not really wanting to get up, and Bogdan Guskov would take his neck home with them, earning the submission victory there in the second round. Visually, the loss was worse than it was. Guskov is currently on a 4-fight win streak and is set up in the top of the division against Jan Blachowicz for his next fight. Elekana, on the other hand, having taken the fight on short notice, earned the respect of the UFC, and though the visual fight was not that great, he would have his next fight against Ibo Aslan. Aslan is a great Turkish fighter, and Elekana would come in as the underdog, making the trip to Abu Dhabi, but neither did really much at all through 15 minutes. The two landed a combined 64 strikes, neither completed a takedown, and on average, the fighters landed single-digit strikes per round. However, Elekana did land more strikes in each of the 3 rounds. It looked like he was kind of predicting Aslan to be more aggressive in the fight, and I would assume both had respect of each other's power. Neither really went for it, and though neither should have been confident in the win entering the judge's decision, ultimately Elekana was crowned with his first UFC win, even though Ibo Aslan was in utter shock by the judge's choice. Let me know your guys' thoughts on Billy Elekana. Do you think he can put together wins and could make real strides? He has the frame and power to be a dominant fighter. He is a very crisp counter striker. His best weapon is definitely his high kick. We've seen it in his knockouts. He's a good counter wrestler, and he also has his own wrestling chops. He can go there if he's fighting a good striker. A lot of potential for the long frame from Billy Elekana, but do you think he is going to turn that potential into mixed martial arts wins in the UFC? Let me know in the comment section below. But that'll do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.